Originating in the Hellraiser comic series, Deep Throat was one of the most beautiful women in this fictional world until she was subjected to a terrible fate. Her life eventually transformed into something entirely new, as her temptations lured her to a puzzle box and turned her into a Cenobite. Over time, she assumed the role of the High Priestess of Hell and went on to accomplish several things, such as being affiliated with the Order of the Gash and working with the High Priest Pinhead. Deep Throat has also appeared in the Hellraiser movies, and today we shall be exploring her backstory in great detail. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. Origins and transformation of Sister Nicoletta. While she's commonly known as Deep Throat, very few fans know that she was actually a nun in her former life. She grew up as a sweet girl who was devoted to the church, and she eventually turned her devotion into her life, to become a nun. As Sister Nicoletta, she tried her best to stay true to her religious beliefs, but her dedication to the church started waning as her feelings of lust became increasingly intense. She started wanting the people around her to the point where she got obsessed with lust and romantic connections, while her religious beliefs took a sidestep. Soon after, she tumbled upon a man who had wandered around her house after sensing her desires, and Nicoletta offered to let him stay at her place. As a gesture of gratitude, the man gave her a Lemarchand box, which soon triggered the transformation that changed her life. Encounter with the Lemarchand puzzle box. As explored in the movies, as well as Barbie Wilde's story in Hellbound Hearts, Sister Nicoletta opened the Lemarchand box to discover the Grillard Cenobite within. Grillard is notably known as one of the oldest Cenobites in history, and his existence can be dated back to 1223. This Cenobite was responsible for her transformation, and according to the storylines, Grillard took it upon himself to use her body entirely before taking her along to Hell. Becoming the High Priestess of Hell. Over time, Deep Throat created quite a terrifying impression on the entities in Hell, and even went on to become the High Priestess. They described her as someone who should not even be named, as the mere mention of her existence would bring about evil and chaos. Soon enough, she was only referred to as Deep Throat instead of Nicoletta, as they believed that her name and actions must all remain unspoken. Anyone who ever dared utter her name had disappeared into thin air with no signs of return, which is also why she earned the nickname Open Deep Throat. She was known as the Virgin Demon of the Order of the Gash, where she worked in close quarters with Pinhead. However, she was quite an uncontrollable being, and even Pinhead struggled to keep her in check at times. It was said that she had a cold, black heart that was incapable of feeling love or sympathy for anyone, and being associated with her meant that you would suffer her torturous methods for eternity. Deep Throat had sharp razors made of steel all over her body, along with a sharp, cruel tongue and an impatient nature that came all together to form an entity that oozed evil. However, she remains an elusive character who does not reveal her true nature to just about anyone, and she prefers to work in the shadows. Her subtle, graceful approach to wielding power made her a rare phenomenon, and very few Cenobites could manage their temperament with such femininity and grace. This is what helped her earn the title of High Priestess of Hell, wherein she symbolized the moon, water, and the power of woman. She also had a sister named Abigor, who was known for her extrovert nature, while Deep Throat remained a much more subtle yet stronger force of power. Appearance and signature mutilations. After Deep Throat crosses paths with the Lemarchand box and turns into a Cenobite, she undergoes a drastic transformation. Her appearance changed entirely so that she could appear as other Cenobites, who were characterized by their black leather outfits and mutilated features. In addition, Deep Throat had shaved off her head, and she had a nail piercing that protruded horizontally through her nose. She also had a network of wires enmeshed into her face, with one such wire running through her cheeks and branching into 3 smaller segments on both sides. These smaller wires eventually made their way down to her throat and made deep incisions, which culminated to create her raspy, whispery voice. Deep Throat's features were described in further detail in the Hellbound Heart novella, wherein she is the only Cenobite with a discernible gender. She was described as the 4th Cenobite, who had not spoken or shown its face for the longest time. However, she finally revealed herself after her hood and robes had been discarded, while she sat on a pile of rotting bones and human heads. Deep Throat seemed to have a smile on her face, while her bloody lips and scarred gray body gleamed in the light. Her description further emphasized her beauty, even when she presented herself in a dominating, fierce manner. As the franchise progressed, Deep Throat underwent some physical changes concerning the wires that held her throat open. In the sequel, the wires were entirely removed, and she even returned to her human form after dying at the end of the Hellraiser sequel. After her death, we learned that she was a beautiful brunette woman without any mutilations or wires sticking out of her throat. Role in the Hellraiser films. Deep Throat made her debut in the cinematic universe in the first Hellraiser film, wherein she appears alongside Pinhead and Chatterer. After Kirsty solves the puzzle box, the three of them appear before her for a moment before she figures out how to solve it again and send them back to Hell. She then made a prolonged appearance in Hellbound Hellraiser 2, when Kirsty made her way to Hell with Julia after solving the puzzle box once again. Deep Throat lurked with the rest of the Cenobites while Kirsty wandered around Hell, waiting for the perfect opportunity to experience her flesh. However, Kirsty seems to have a few tricks up her sleeve, showing them a picture of Pinhead in his human form. This revives his memories about his human life from the past, while Deep Throat also comes to terms with the fact that she has not always been a Cenobite. We get a glimpse into her human form as well, before she is sealed in the Pillars of Souls by Dr. Channard. Resurrection in the comics. While Deep Throat had allegedly died over 2 decades ago, Clive Barker's Hellraiser comics titled Pursuit of the Flesh revealed that she had returned to life soon after. As it turns out, Pinhead resurrected Deep Throat and Chatterer so he could have more followers to do his bidding. Portrayals and Legacy. Deep Throat has been portrayed by 2 different actresses in the Hellraiser movie, with differing audience views on both of these depictions. Grace Kirby appeared as Deep Throat in the first Hellraiser movie, while Barbie Wilde depicted her in the second part. Both these actresses put their unique spin on the character, wherein Grace Kirby appeared as a terrifying entity with a raspy voice and a corpse-like appearance. In fact, she managed to appear even scarier than Pinhead, but at the same time, she had an eerie beauty that added a touch of femininity to such a gaunt character. Grace Kirby's appearance also shared several typical Cenobite features, making her seem alien, sexless, and deformed. On the other hand, Barbie Wilde's version had a punk aesthetic of sorts, with soft feminine features that were more suited to the sequel's aesthetics. She also took measures to get the character's throat hooks removed, which resulted in the loss of the raspy, throaty voice. Marvelous verdict. With that, we have explored Deep Throat's creation and backstory in the Hellraiser comics, as well as the movies. She added a touch of terror to beauty, and undoubtedly has one of the most fascinating origin stories as a Cenobite. Deep Throat's eventual rise to power as the High Priestess of Hell is also commendable, and we would love to hear your thoughts on her in the comments below. If you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone!